So we've got one more week of regular season NFL action. Week 18. And yeehaw, right? 17-game regular season for all these teams, and we made it through it. I guess we're good there. But even with the expanded playoffs, now you get 7 teams in. Still creates a little bit of drama here for Week 17. There's still some, from Week 17, I should say, over to Week 18. It also creates a little bit of drama in terms of playoff seeding. It's still at stake. So, a lot of things can still play out in terms of where teams fall out, whether they even make the playoffs or not, or where they potentially land within the seeding and who they might face in the first round. What we do know, obviously, is that the Green Bay Packers have clinched the #1 seed in the NFC. Let's try that again. They have clinched the #1 seed. They won the NFC North. They have the best record in the league. They are going to be hosting the playoffs through Lambeau. The road to the Super Bowl goes through Lambeau, which isn't nearly as intimidating as it once was. See Tampa Bay last year. Good example. But with that being said, a lot of other positions still at stake. For the AFC, is it going to be the Tennessee Titans or the Kansas City Chiefs that end up with the top seed in the road having to go through there? When you look at the NFC, you still have some debate about whether it's going to be San Francisco or New Orleans that ultimately gets that final playoff spot. In the AFC, you've got the Chargers and Raiders on Sunday night. Win and you're in. That's the scenario for the playoffs. Or if you tie and the Colts lose, I think you end up both getting in, which, fuck it, if the Colts lose, you say, let's go out there and 0-0 tie this motherfucker, both get in, but that's not really the spirit of the game, is it? So anyways, try to make the best of what I can with these Week 18 picks, because some teams are playing for a lot and some teams aren't playing for shit, and some teams are benching guys and resting guys like the Bengals are. Burrow, I'm sure, is out, and some other guys are, so kind of a crapshoot here in Week 18. But Week 17 was a mixed bag. 12-4 picking winners straight up, only 7-9 against the spread. Hasn't been the best year against the spread for me, but it is what it is. Looking at the Saturday games, which I believe will actually be played before this video actually gets uploaded, so I'll make sure I tweet out these picks before these games on Saturday. You've got the Chiefs traveling to Denver to take on the Broncos. This is potentially Vic Fangio's last stand in Denver. I'd hope for his sake it's not, but maybe it is. But at the same token, was he ever really set up for success if he keep always going down the Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater, route for the damn quarterback position? How much more successful were you realistically hoping that a guy like him was going to be? And then especially when you trade off a guy like Von Miller during the season. How successful was a guy like Vic Fangio supposed to be here? Really. Meanwhile, for the Chiefs, they've had their ups and downs this season for sure, but I would not sleep on them, and they still, like I said, have a chance here to get that top overall seed in the AFC and have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. But they've got to handle business here. They got to put the pressure on the Titans come Sunday. And I fully expect that the Chiefs will come into Denver and they'll take care of business. Give me Kansas City minus the 11. Then the other matchup, you've got the Cowboys traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Cowboys have clinched the NFC least, although you technically have 2 playoff teams from the NFC least, so I'll call it the NFC East this year. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Eagles have clinched a playoff spot, which when you think about it long term, this organization is not in the worst spot. Just how good Jalen Hurts can be remains to be seen, but you did see some development, growth, and improvement. This is a team that's got 3 first-round picks. It's not all bad for Philadelphia right now. Cowboys are favored by 4.5. I like the Cowboys in this spot, although it's got to be a disappointing loss for them losing to the Cardinals last week. Switching over to the early Sunday games, you've got the Bengals, who don't have a ton to play for here. I guess there's always, isn't there, that outside chance that the Titans and the Chiefs lose, and if the Bengals win, then they might potentially get home field. I think that's a possible scenario. Who the fuck knows anymore? But likelihood of that happening is slim, remote. And we know what's slim or remote is the Browns making the playoffs, because there is no chance because they've been eliminated. And you've got all types of questions going on in Cleveland about Baker Midfield and his relationship with Kevin Stefanski. Who knows if Midfield even plays in this game? Excuse me, Mayfield. No, I said it right the first time. Frickin' midfield. Ooh, my goodness. Things went south very quickly in Cleveland. I like Cleveland to win this game because I think the Bengals are going to rest, but maybe the Bengals will cover the 6-point spread. I don't know. Got the Packers traveling to Detroit to take on the Lions. I'll take Green Bay -3 because I still think the Packers are going to want to play their starters. And to the whole thing of what happens if they get somebody really injured in this game? Shit. Haven't the Packers been hit pretty heavily by injuries throughout the course of the season anyways? What difference does it make at this point? Like maybe you only play Aaron Rodgers a quarter and a half. But I do think there's something like, well, you hear some people talk about you got to take it easy and you want to rest players. I don't know if you do. Like some of the teams that have rested guys in the past haven't always fared that well in the playoffs. And especially for the Packers, do you really want to have some of your marquee guys go 3 weeks without playing a meaningful game? I don't know about all that. So get them a little bit of action here and then maybe get them the hell out of there. But I'll take Green Bay -3. You got Chicago traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Of course, we get Andy Dalton starting instead of Justin Fields because fuck life. But hopefully the last game for Matt Nagy and Mike Zimmer at the helm of the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings respectively. I like the Vikings to win and the Bears to cover the 5.5 spread. Another meaningless football game. Washington football team traveling to New York to take on the Giants. For some inexplicable reason, Joe Judge's job is safe, and I don't fucking know why. Give me Washington -7. Indianapolis travels to Jacksonville to take on the Jags. Give me the Colts -15. The Steelers travel to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Two teams, I guess, that technically have playoff life, although it's not incredibly realistic at this moment. Tyler Huntley will be starting for the Ravens again on Sunday. I like the Steelers in this spot. Give me Pittsburgh +3.5. And then in the last of the Sunday early games, you got Tennessee traveling to Houston to take on the Texans. So you're going to know by mid-Sunday afternoon who's going to be the top seed in the AFC. Win for the Titans, and they are in that spot. Just be careful if the Chiefs win. Be careful of the Texans not jumping up and making a big game out of this for you. I think the Titans will figure out a way to handle business, though, because they give me Tennessee -10.5. The late Sunday games, New Orleans with some playoff life, as long as they can win and San Francisco loses to the Rams. Saints got to take on the Falcons. I'm sure Atlanta would love to play spoiler, but Saints, give me them -3.5. You got the Jets traveling to Buffalo to take on the Bills. The Bills trying to clinch the division. Give me Buffalo -16. Got San Francisco traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. It looks like Jimmy Garbage Pail is going to play, so give me the Rams -4.5. The Patriots travel, and think about that if you're the 49ers. What happens if you lose this game on Sunday and the Saints win, and you end up missing the playoffs? You wasted damn near a whole season of potential fucking development for Trey Lance to do what? To not make the playoffs. I know this will be an unpopular choice here in San Francisco, an unpopular opinion, but honestly, I feel like if they don't make the playoffs, you should be talking about Kyle Shanahan potentially in his job status. Because that's criminal stupidity to opt to choose to play Garoppolo all year, waste basically most of an entire rookie season under a rookie contract in Trey Lance's development, to then find yourself in a spot where you don't even necessarily know that you're going to make the playoffs. You will have accomplished nothing. The ultimate in a wasted season for all involved. Stupidity. The 49ers better win. If they don't, some heads should roll in that organization for the stupidity of what they chose this year. The Patriots travel to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Speaking of incompetent leadership in an organization, look at Miami. Oh, they won a bunch of meaningless games against shitty teams, and then when it mattered, they didn't nut up. And Tua's been in a bad spot from day one. They clearly don't believe in him. I mean, he never had elite skills or talent to begin with. He was overdrafted by at least a round. But nonetheless, once you take a guy like that, you've got to help him. You've got to support him. And they have chronically failed to do that. Give me the Patriots -6. Seattle travels to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. Give me the Cardinals -6.5. Whether that's going to be Russell Wilson and or Pete Carroll's last game with the Seattle Seahawks, that will be an interesting subplot. Then you got the Panthers traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the Bucks. Give me the Bucks -8. And then your big notable Sunday night matchup, the one that makes the most sense, basically a win and you're in scenario in a lot of ways. The Chargers traveling to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. If the Raiders find a way to win this game and they get into the playoffs, does that change the conversation about Bisaccia and his job? Like, does he go from interim to permanent? It's an interesting question. For the Chargers, They got to find a way to win this game. You cannot waste this season. They should have already clinched their spot, and it's when you're losing to teams like the Texans that put you in this spot. Those are where those bad losses start to catch up with you. They really, really do. I like the Chargers in this spot. Give me the Chargers -3. We'll see what happens come Sunday night. That one hopefully will be a lot of fun. But it should be a mixed bag. You'll have some crazy things I'm sure happen. Unexpected things happen come Sunday. It always does the last week of the season. My picks, like I said, are in the description box below, so check them out.